set up time for around 30 minutes. So I will do that. And we decided today I will be a supervisor, right? So I will be more or less kind of silent all the time. And who is going to be coach, John? I forgot. You, right?
I'm coaching, yep. Alice is
Okay.
going to be coached, and Irene's going to be co-coach.
Perfect.
Yes.
So in this case, guys, it's totally now you are in the driver's seat, John. So take the wheel.
Take the
So
wheel.
yes,
All
I'm
right.
muting myself. Mhm.
All right. So Alice, what would you like to share with us today?
Well, my talk today of my question is how to get unstuck in overwhelm. I am the kind of person that really, I love brainstorming. If you got a problem and you bring it to me, I can give you 5 or 6, 10 options. I love learning new things, and I'm a visionary. So I'm always seeing a mile or 2 or 3 years ahead of me, which is really good when I come to coaching clients. But I find myself when it comes to accomplishing something that I want for myself, I keep bringing so many new things into on my plate that all of a sudden I'm overwhelmed and I never accomplish any of them to my satisfaction. While other people say, it's really good. You did this, you did that, but I'm never satisfied to the way I would like to accomplish them because it's like I can't resist bringing something new, a new interest, and I end up stuck and not really, like I say, accomplishing anything to the full potential of my satisfaction. So I need help with that.
Well, I so appreciate your sharing this with us, and certainly this probably holds true to many people, in terms of feeling overwhelmed with all the things that you want to do. And I am curious because you mentioned that you have success with your clients when you're coaching them. And I'm curious, how do you approach your clients when they're in this situation?
Well, I tell them, I ask them to maybe create a schedule to prioritize the things that they're doing, to make, instead of 10 things doing, maybe just go with 3 things. And that works for them. And I also tell myself that, but it doesn't work for me.
What's getting in the way?
I'm suspicious about something, but I'm not quite sure. I'm suspicious because I've been going through this for quite a while. I mean, for years. I will do something, I will get a project, and I will go to I'll do it really well, but I never go to where I think I've excelled at it, where I know I could take it. I just take it to a point where others say, wow, that's great. Look what you did. But only I know I never take it all the way. Um, I'm thinking it's possible that I might have a fear of success. I don't have a fear of failure because everything that I attempt, I usually succeed at it, but not to the level that I know I can succeed. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how I've been trying to figure it out.
May I ask you something?
Sure.
What would be the worst thing that can happen if you succeed the way you imagine could be the marvelous, wonderful, magic success?
I think the worst thing could happen for me would be I would lose some of my privacy, maybe, if you call it that. While I enjoy working with people, I enjoy being with people, but I also I really enjoy being with me. And I don't know if that would interfere with the quality of time I spend with me, the amount of time I would have to spend with me. I think that might be one of them. That might be the main thing.
Alice, how does it feel when you hear yourself share that in terms of this idea of fear of success?
It I'm not really sure. It's almost like no feeling, which is this is the first time I ever really realized that it's not like it make me sad or it make me happy. It's just like it's a fact and that's it. I mean, it's almost like there's no emotional feeling tied to it. That's strange. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm.
Would you like to explore any further what you stated?
Sure. I'll say time if it get too deep. I mean, I just never really, you know, I've always been suspicious that that was it. That was the main thing. But I never really thought about how it make me feel. Do it make me sad that I don't go further? Do it make me afraid? And it might be, I think it might be a little fear in there about going further because it would in some way change my life, because not only it would in some way change my life concerning with the privacy, but it would also probably change my life with my maybe not change, but what in my mind, I think it would make maybe my, I don't know. I don't know how it would make my, and this really, as I say it, makes no sense as a coach, but it really, it makes me wonder how my siblings would feel if I succeeded beyond that point. They're used to me getting to a certain point, but I think if I really went all the way, and this is my feeling, it's not, most of the time I understand that our feelings are within us. Most people aren't even thinking about us. But my feeling is that they would feel some kind of negative way about me. I think probably that's fear of success, because I have always been the different one, and this would make me even more different. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it, and that's a big part of it. I don't know if that's all of it, but I really believe that's a big part of it, that I have to find some way, and the overwhelm is what is kind of like a self-sabotage to keep me from going over to that point of success.
Well, Alice, I want to acknowledge the insight that you had here in terms of what you see is potentially holding you back. And I'm just curious, with the time we have too, just what do you want to leave with from this conversation today that's going to be helpful for you to move forward?
I think the reason I picked this topic was because I just want to see if maybe the other coaches would think that maybe I'm halfway on the right track. I think that's it, just to get some feedback, some other opinions, some other thought process, you know. Yeah, I think that would be helpful. That would be a plus. Maybe even if you guys have any ideas that you would like to share. My ideal is what I'm fighting with and working with is to just this year, I've cut a lots of things out. I'm not taking so much training. I'm not getting involved in so many things. And I only have 3 major things that I'm doing. And I have to keep, when I start veering off to the side, I ask myself, okay, why are you doing that? This is a habit, this is a pattern that you do. So trying to see what triggers it. And it's usually when I'm getting almost to that ultimate part where I can go over that it triggers, and I'm like, okay, I think I want to learn this. So I want to do this. So just some insight, some feedback that I think that would be helpful.
Well, Alice, I noticed something since the beginning. You said that prioritizing didn't work for you, but listen to what you say now, you did it. You make a choice about what do you care about. How this is working now, did you notice if you gain some more clarity or time or other gaining in your life? What did you notice that changed it already?
Well, I have noticed that I am pushing forward, that it is when that trigger come up, identifying it quicker. And it's like, okay, you're going to start down the rabbit hole again. And I recognize it, and I'm like, okay, you need to pull back. So I am recognizing it sooner, where before I would be halfway down and it would be like, oh man, you did it again. So I think that's being, so I am prioritizing. I really am, now that you mention it. Maybe I need to give myself a little bit more credit for moving forward. That's like maybe I need to do that. Be kinder to myself the way I would be to a client.
So
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank
how
you for bringing that to my attention.
Alice, I'm curious, how will you be able to, or what does it look like when you're compassionate to yourself and when you're kind to yourself in these moments? What would it look like for you?
To be honest, I think I use 95% of my compassion and my service to others instead of to me. So I have to, I think I'm going to have to be more compassionate, intentionally be more compassionate to myself before I will even know how it will look. Yeah.
How are you feeling right now? I'm just curious where you're at.
Hmm. In this moment, I'm feeling like I'm not really sure. Um, it's kind of like I'm really not sure. I couldn't really describe the emotion, which brings up probably a whole different subject. um, about mm, I'm really not sure. It's more like a detach. Yeah, that's the best word. Detached, detached from the emotion, which would maybe kind of tie in with the being afraid to succeed because of what I think my siblings or the friends I grew up with think of me. And by detaching from that, I really don't have to feel a emotion, but I also don't go to the point of where I really want to see exactly how far I can go. So, yeah, I guess detached.
And how far you want to go?
I've always wanted to I've always believed that God put me on earth for something special, to be an example, um, for something specific, for something special. And I've always wondered what that something is. So that's where I want to go. I want to go to that something. So maybe my answer is I need to want that something more than I'm concerned with what that what I think others will feel about me.
Mhm.
That maybe that's what I need to really focus more on, that something, because to me that something is my purpose. And I just can't imagine leaving this earth ever without knowing what that something is. Yet somehow I think if I can always remind myself of that, to get to to stay focused on that something, to find out what that something is. I think that would be helpful. I definitely will write me a sticky note for that.
Alice, may I share something that's coming up for me
Sure.
as I hear you speak? You spoke about kind of this, about God and
Mhm.
the work that you're doing. And it sounds as though it sounds as though it's moving towards the source. It's moving towards divine. It's moving towards that that light that we've talked about before. And I'm
Mhm.
just curious, as I share that with you, what comes up for you?
Uh, yes, I'm in agreement with that. That it is moving towards that, and maybe some of it, the fear of success is the fear of how big is that? You know, where I've never been one that really liked the spotlight. I'm great working behind the scene. So maybe even though I know that's where I'm supposed to go, it's um it's still that fear of that successes. Yeah.
Um, Before you mentioned that you somehow were afraid about what people think about you, that maybe they could consider you even stranger than usually. But what is the idea of yourself that you have that can change if you would be more successful?
Um, yeah, I guess there could be some fear associated with that too, because sometimes you see people when they become successful, they do change. And I really like me. I'm like, I really don't want to lose me. I don't want to lose my time with me. I don't want to lose. I've worked really hard to get to where I'm at. So I guess it could be some of that could be some fear that will I change, you know? Um, will I not be I never want to be so focused on the issue that I'm less focused on people. You know, I always want to have compassion for people. I always want to be of service to people. I always want to be kind. So I guess that could be a fear that uh, maybe I might change.
And I'm asking you another tricky question.
Okay.
How do you connect the fear of changing with the fear of losing privacy? Sorry, I pronounce it in the British way, privacy.
Okay. Okay. Um. Yeah, they are connected, but I think I've never really thought about it in comparing them. But I think I probably the fear of changing would be on a higher level than the fear of losing my privacy. Yeah.
Alice, how much choice do you have in creating those boundaries around where you want to be? You know, your awareness of what you'd like to look like this to look like. But I'm just curious, what choices do you have in this?
Well, each day I'm realizing I have less and less because I'm so of the awareness of it and the clarity of it. I have no excuse to hide behind anymore. And I really feel like it's a purpose-driven thing. So I am going forward. I am pushing forward. I am it's kind of like my basement penthouse thing. I'm at the door, and all I have to do is open the door and step in. So, so I am moving forward.
Great.
How does it feel to see yourself having moved into that space that you just described?
Kind of scary, because I like to know what's ahead of me. And as I've opened that door before, and I can see light, but I can't really see a step. So I'm going to have to really make that step on faith. So, yeah, kind of scary, but also a little exciting.
I'm curious, is there anyone who might be able to support you as you're continuing to walk up these stairs and go to that next level?
I do have a couple of friends that are very supportive. One very supportive friend, and she pushed me up when I try to go back down. And so she's very supportive, and she has been really one of the people that have kept me moving forward. And yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So Alice, I know we're starting to get towards the end of our conversation, but I'm curious, what have you learned about yourself in this conversation today?
One is that I need to be as compassionate towards myself as I am towards others. And this is what I coach on. That I need to serve myself the way I serve others. And that I do have a tendency to detach myself from some of when it get a little emotional, when I have to dig deep in my emotions. Yeah, I think that would be my 3 biggest takeaways.
Irene, any
So how do you
thoughts?
feel right now?
I feel kind of validated that I'm on the right track, that I will move forward, that I am moving forward. Yeah, that I am moving forward, and I just have to keep moving forward. I have to walk through that door.
And remember to give more credit to yourself.
Yes, yes. See, I forgot that one.
Well, Alice, thank you. And again, I want to acknowledge all of the awareness and the insights that you came up with during this conversation and your realizations about where you're at. And I so appreciate how much you shared with us. in this conversation.
Well, I thank both you and Irene, and I hope I didn't bring too much to you guys. It wasn't so much on your plate, but I thank you so much because you did make me think of some things and become more aware of some things that I could do towards myself that I do towards my clients. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Pleasure. You know, Alice, that if we have more time, I will dive even deeper.
We would have been taking a deep dive.
I know.
I think it's also, this is just an example of, in coaching that you can start getting into, right, kind of the area, but that's the lovely thing about coaching, that you can continue a conversation to go deeper. So sometimes we just start getting below the surface, right, and starting to understand what's happening, and then that opportunity to go deeper sometimes, maybe in another conversation. So yeah.
So supervisor.
Yeah, I was going to say supervisor.
The ghost supervisor.
I mean, yeah, I'm observing the whole session. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. Lots of silence. I mean, lots of processing time for Alice. And yeah, I found it quite amazing, the fact that several times, guys, you were trying to assess feels at certain moment, and every time she consistently gave us the same answer, kind of not sure or neutral or kind of don't feel, or I mean, I find it quite interesting because obviously some energy kind of disguised or hidden, or as Alice said, detached from the top. And I'm curious because usually when you really want to change, the two factors supposed to be in place. I mean, it's supposed to be enough in pain, kind of, to leave the place where you are, and supposed to be really attracted to something which you see. It's like it's kind of biased way, but nevertheless, we usually see certain things which we don't like, and certain things which we do in the destination point. Otherwise, we would not be even kind of compelled to change anything, right? I mean, if it's like I'm totally happy here and I don't want to go there, so that's obviously not how you set up your goal. So and it's interesting that you have that in place. Kind of you want to change, but you have zero emotion about it. And I it's like for me as observer, it's kind of indicator that it's almost like you have a lack of fuel, like lack of power as a result. Because as soon as you break the wall and bring emotion, bring energy into that, I think it's like potentially you're gonna have additional push to move forward. And that was I was curious. What would make you more connected with your feelings really about that issue?
That's a good question. I'm at that point where I'm uncomfortable where I'm at. So that's pushing me forward.
Yeah.
I see what I want, but it's like uncomfortable is here. What I want is here. And I'm on that tip top.
Yeah.
And the emotion, maybe the emotion that my biggest fear concerning it is I don't want to, I feel so strongly that it's a purpose for my life that I don't want to leave this earth and have to stand before God and he asks me why you didn't do it. That's my biggest fear. That's what's really pushing me forward now. That's why I've said I'm only working on 3 things. I have to do this. That's my biggest fear because that's my faith, my spirituality, my belief, that I never want to, because now I'm fully aware of it. I don't think it would be a problem if I wasn't aware of it. So now that I'm aware of it, I'm responsible. I have to be accountable. And that's my biggest fear, that I would have to do that. And that's what I know will propel me forward. Yeah.
Yeah. And also you mentioned another fear that you're gonna kind of change it up to the point when you cannot recognize yourself. I mean, that you will be potentially not Alice you are familiar with. Another fear. Interesting.
And when you said that, it went through my head that I really won't be that Alice. And that's not a bad thing, because that Alice was the one standing back here. And I'm the Alice that never popped, that just popped in my mind. So that's not a bad thing that I won't be that Alice, I'll still have my values and my beliefs, but some part of that Alice I am supposed to leave back here.
Interesting. Thank you, Alice. Thank you, guys. Amazing. Nice session.
Well, unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time, but would be great.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean,
you touch a lot from the deal scale, changing of identity, beliefs, values, a lot of things you touched, and it was really interesting how and your openness is fantastic, because it's not easy to open yourself and your heart. Well, we are friends, of course, but publicly.
Well, I really believe I've gotten to the point in life where I believe I have nothing to hide. I have nothing to fear. My only fear is success. And I'm not even fearful of saying that, because I believe every fear I've ever had, I had to put it out there and face it. So if I open myself up as a coach, my clients are usually as open with me as I am. And it's just, I'm okay with being open, Yeah.
Perfect. Guys, thank you all. And I think it's a great point to stop at this moment. Thank you very much, and we will see each other next week.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Alice.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Irene.
Bye.